Hey, good afternoon. This is Zan John, and I have a guest, Raymond M. Barrera III, and I wanted his interesting disposition on life and for him to talk about his background. If you don't mind, introduce yourself, and if you don't have that bio pulled up, just pull from memory and tell everyone
Okay.
about you.
Okay. Well, most of what's today is going to be from my memory and my quick reserve awareness memory, but I can continue that way. I
Please.
am a simple, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here in any way, shape, way, and form. I am a simple guru and Tibetan lineage holder. I try to preserve secret, sacred information, and this is my foundation of life. Through a non-profit organization of mine, Expanded Minds of Cosmos, I seek to preserve lineages that had true heart-to-heart knowledge of building into ourselves, our nature within, for a better tomorrow and a better connection with nature. So we don't have to be dependent on anything but ourselves. And this extends in a very methodological, very scientific, and deep spiritual way. I try to branch quantum physics in a way that it can be understood. Because a lot of these lineages, without the science behind it, it'd be hard to understand a little bit. So I just seek to preserve that as much as I can in being a lineage holder.
That's neat. Now, speak to me about Tibet.
Yes, definitely. Well, the reason I reference Tibet a lot is because Tibet held secret teachings having to do within. Now, currently, of course, Tibet is not existent. China kind of took over Tibet a while back, around 1950, roughly.
Now, why do
And
you
a
think
lot of it,
they would do that?
that's a great question. That's a great question, actually. Yes. And a lot of it had to do for two reasons, really. The political reason was the change of empires, and Tibet was very independent. And it had been its own country, state, province for decades and decades. And a lot of it had to do as well with the Himalayas. Honestly, a lot of it, because it would have to partake in going into the Himalayas and taking over these monasteries, taking over this knowledge, these books, these passages, and so a lot of it had to do with knowledge as well, which is the second reason, because the empire, empires in general had to be in control. So that was the Chinese one in this case. In this case, so technically, Tibet today doesn't exist. That's why lineage holders, having to do with any of this, that's part of it. So it had a lot to do with that.
These monasteries, is it true that they sit on top of internal earth pathways?
Yes, yes, there's actually truth to this. Indeed, there's still some monasteries today that there's still some locked doorways that there's some passages on, scriptures on, dating back BC, and a lot of them are not completely able to be translated. And etymology and translating of the demonic language, and that goes to Egypt as well. There's a lot of secret passages and underground passages, and this is actually equivalent to a lot of scripture. Even scriptures speak of this, and there's physical evidence of this.
Have you heard of an author named Peter Moon from New York?
No, I'm not that I'm aware of actually.
Peter Moon writes about underground tunnels that connect from Romania to Iraq, like the Tomb of Osiris, things like that. He
Yes, yes,
says,
yes.
he says it was a strategic move for 9/11 to be staged so that the Bush family, which might just be the cover for others, but they're the outer shell to launch and invade this Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq by
Mm,
design.
yes,
Yes, to harvest minerals, but to get control of these, how do I say this? Just underground infrastructure, if you will, that dates back
yes.
very, very far. Now, I could be wrong. I have not seen this for myself. Only hear about it. This is just speculation. I wanted to pull in your knowledge. Maybe you can add to that. Talk about that. Do you know much about these? How big these tunnels are? Where they spread to? Can you just break us all off?
Oh well, yeah, I can give a very good summary of it. So, of course, the exact tunnel network, the exact tunnel work. That's I do not know the exact details, but I do know it has to do with North to South Pole. Okay, and a lot of it as well is an extent of Antarctica. Actually, it has a lot to do with Antarctica indirectly as well, because underneath, our Earth, it is in a form. There's a whole network, and in a way, it is hollow. There is evidence to the hollow Earth theory, so this extends from that. And a lot of it, and the time we're in, what's coming, has a lot to do directly with these tunnels, and that's in part of their plot and or this plot. And like I said, and have you stated, it is not like one person or two are doing this directly, and but this is the overall plan, and it has a lot to do with this network, which is essential for any plan of the future for on or for Earth, etc., and for the migration of beings and our evolution as a whole. And there's definitely a linkage there, definitely.
Can you expand on all these layers? Are you aware of all these layers? Do you know them? Can you list them in order?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir. Not all the layers. No,
Okay.
but it is directly understood that all these beings around us are around us 24/7, and this is directly part of it, though.
How do we uncover knowledge about this underground, whether it's man-made or extraterrestrial or even natural? Where can I point the audience? Where can someone do legitimate research to get factual anecdotal information other than going there and having access?
The best information to give would have to do with the ancient civilizations. Ironically, there is no way physically right now, as right now, but that can change, and it will not be able to if we let the current plan settle in the way it is right now, currently. So one of the deepest things, ironically, we can do is go within, because it is talked about, and there's evidence to this, that ironically the one of the main ways to get there is ironically within ourselves, as above, so below. And this is directly related. So, ironically, one of the best resources is ourselves, our inner power, chi, energy, soul. There's many words for this, and as well, ancient information on these regarding this subject, such as the Egyptians and the pyramids actually kind of linked to this, and that's why part of it is that as well. So that's why I have to, out of respect, bring up the Egyptian lineages as well. And a lot of it is directly tied with the third eye, ironically, literally as well.
How do we stop this current plan that does not have humanity uh, put as a priority? At least it's health and longevity and prosperity as a
Right.
priority. How do we stop this current plan? What can I do? I thought running for Senate to raise awareness, making posts, on the digital town square of things like Facebook. How how can someone be more of an asset for the prosperity of humanity and derailing this current plan, as you say?
Yes, yes, definitely. Well, okay, there's many paths down this cosmic river to the cosmic source. Okay, and one of the, if not the most pristine way is get in touch with ourselves. And this is misunderstood, and I understand that from many points of views, of metaphorical rather than literal. So, and a lot of this as well has to do with our chakras. And I shall understand and elaborate what chakras are, because again, this is a misunderstanding greatly, complete misunderstanding. So, within our body, there's literal gateways and doorways, just like consciousness. With consciousness is energy. So, wherever our awareness and our energy is directed, answers can come from that, from the pristine self. So prayer, Reiki, all of this, it's directed to the self. Even science, we're nothing but energy. Okay, so we're our own greatest answers and our own greatest resource. Right now, we're in a, the ancients refer to this as cycles, or Kali Yuga, or different, and we're approaching the end of the cycle. From philosophy to Stoicism, from Pythagoras, for example, the Latins or Greek word for this is anima mundi, what I'm about to refer to, and or the Tibetan word would be Tantra, which they both refer to the concept as the world soul, or so everything is connected literally at the seams, every organism, every being. So how directly we can go in is ourselves. Now, what we see in front of us right now, media, news, everything going on, it's an attempt to lower literally our vibration. I can get into that through fear. So if we're absorbing fear constantly, we're going to be expelling that constantly. Now, this has been proven scientifically and through quantum physics as well, that energy, what we think of, what's in our hearts, literally every time our heart beats, it's in accordance to the rhythm from Earth. The circadian rhythm, the human residence, it is directly linked. So what's going on right now is all the more this fear we're expunging out, expelling out, is directly having an influence in everyone. So we work on ourselves inside, and this is with respect to anyone that has an answer. All these are correct paths to evolution in a way. All these are beautiful paths, but there's many misunderstandings right now. So there's different races, beings in play for this. Whether it be reptilian, Anunnaki, I can go in that part can go on and on. This is directly related to it. So what we see here is beings and or AI and or things, okay, and that has already done this cycle, which brings me to the word of samsara, means trapped, trapped over and over and over and over. So without getting a hold of our pristine primordial awareness within, and this is actual literal luminosity within, and this is pointed out, like I said, within Tantra. Tantra is the Tibetan word for unweaving, unraveling, and connecting again and merging ourselves with consciousness in a pristine primordial way and path. And or, like I said, the Greeks referred to this as anima mundi, which is the world soul. So there is a pristine way that's already been written. This is within the Tibetan Book of the Dead and or the Egyptian lineages and the reason I bring that concept as of theoretically and in practice, if one can bring back their energy from, and I say this in parentheses, death, there is no death. That's where this comes from. But say if there's a higher species that has already done this, and then they say, okay, well, this is the way. Well, this is the least path resistance. Okay, so what if they understood is, in a way, what they're proposing is ascension, but this is in their best interest, and this is not in ours in any shape, way, and form. So again, with full respect, and remember, and all of these, and even AI is just coming from already what's already in conjunction to these timelines and or the knowledge has been given. But true nature's technology is within us. We are in nature's technology. So through quantum physics and science, even this comes full circle, E equals MC squared, energy, vibration, frequency. So there's exact methodologies and practices to unite with this pristine awareness that we utter out accidentally or fully. It's a lot like a movie. This has to be experienced for it fully to get ourselves and for us to get ourselves. We see a movie from beginning to end and we see this beautiful subject matter that really touches us, but really all it is, that seed of awareness that saw it experience itself. And it's a lot like us. If through quantum meditation, there's a way to really dig in there and bring it out.
Yeah, that first off, that was one of the best answers I've ever gotten on my show.
Oh,
and I want to thank you for that. You put a lot of things into perspective.
oh, thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that was really integral. I'm just grappling with that. Thanks.
Of course, of course.
So I think, though, with what you're saying too, there's already been a counter move ahead of looking into ourselves or getting in touch with ourselves and raising our vibrations. Would you agree
Yes.
through fast food and fluoride in water and things like vaccines, these are all meant to, in so many words, dumb down the population from their true potential?
Definitely, yes. In so many words, yes, definitely. Yes, sir. And this is the actual plan, and this has been well thought out by species that have been physically here before us and in this cycle. So in this rat trap, hamster wheel, samsara, whatever the term be for it, where so species or energy, it has to experience itself to fully get itself in a direct perception, to see what we're really made of, so to speak. So this energy is primordially always there. Even in physics, it's been proven with I believe it's called the split slit experiment, with energy particles, when directly observed, they react differently. Now, this has been actually proven to, that, even in physics, there's a term dark energy. And we're barely understanding that this underlays the universe around us completely. And that's why we're just trying to circle back to that. A scientist as well, and I will say this right here, I do not claim to be a scientist or a physicist or a doctor, but as well, a lot of I say that because a lot
A
of
lot of
things.
the education nowadays is so corrupt. You know, I have
Yes, yes, right,
increasingly
yes,
less respect for politicians, lawyers, doctors, maybe not so much engineers, but a lot of physics is also untouchable and written
yes,
off, you know,
yeah,
anti-gravitics, red mercury energy engines, things like that. So it seems every form of modern American or Western, if you will, education has been completely controlled and manipulated. And it's like there's a set course where you can only, you know, step towards. And outside of that bounds would be either disgraceful, considered quackery, you know. And I'm not saying there isn't quack things out there, but
right,
or quack subjects, which I'm using, of course, quack in a derogatory term. But
of course,
I feel that if things uh, they would not suppress certain technologies or issue or say that it is deemed a matter of national security as a cop-out excuse for certain patents on certain methods of propulsion, you know, and uh, engineers or inventors who invent, you know, a carburetor that gets 100 miles per gallon of fuel, or Stanley Myers with his water engine, or that other guy, Jeff something, I think he had that easy water that James Rink was talking about. It's just like this whole censoring on YouTube and Facebook, you know, all big tech. You know, if it was just quackery, who cares? Uh, America, you used to be able to write those people off. You know, if someone's in the street saying, just speaking gibberish, it's not like they need to be censored. We can discern, you know, we can look and say, well,
right,
that guy isn't saying
exactly,
anything well, worth taking. And you know, to talk about these things, you know, if they're suppressed, I think that's the first sign that that person or this subject is onto something that would shatter many paradigms and undermine big monetary systems we have that are used to control us.
definitely, definitely. If they can control the content, everything we see, and all, and distract us all the more,
Oh God, yeah,
distraction,
it's
distraction.
such a distraction, and this
Yes,
whole mainstream news is it's pushing us through this grader, if you will,
yeah,
to encourage us to acquiesce. That is the storyline we should go with, and nothing else matters. You know, and it seems everything they say we need to do and think the opposite. If they hate
right,
Donald Trump
yes,
so much, I think we need to love Donald Trump. But they say the vaccine is so good. Now these are me. This is me just plucking this from the ethos and putting it out there. If you disagree,
yes,
please tell me that you do and why.
definitely,
But
yes.
I'm speaking for both of us unless you interrupt me.
Oh, okay, yes, sir. Okay,
Yeah, you get what
and
I'm saying?
nothing I disagree
I'm
with.
not
Oh,
saying like,
definitely.
yeah. I mean,
Oh, definitely.
how do you feel about vaccines and fluoride? Can you tell me about that?
Well, all of that I can agree with, actually, honestly, everything, and fluoride, vaccines, chemicals, everything in our tap water, from waves, radiation, because everything emits its form of energy, radiation, frequency, etc. And this directly impacts our health spiritually, mentally, and physically in every single way. And I will circle back to this fully. But yes, all of this fluoride vaccine, there is definitely a plot involved somehow. And any politician, it is not their fault directly and or indirectly, and this can be used in a positive way. All of this can be used, ironically, and there's a lot of love that is needed here. Many can misunderstand what that, but actually, love is the greatest weapon. Ironically,
Love
because
is the
what comes
greatest
with
weapon.
yes, but this needs to be understood. How so, though? Because many
With
people
our
do not
last
understand.
5 minutes, because we're just doing a short episode today because of Christmas
Yes,
obligations.
definitely. Oh, yes.
Tell us how love is the ultimate weapon, and how. No, tell us how to use it. Please break that down.
Definitely. Okay, so this has been misunderstood tremendously, as in love everything completely, 100%, even complete things that are just destroying us completely on a bacterial level. And that's not what I mean at all. True love is literally our own evolution. And that's how we dig deep into tomorrow what we are. That's going to make us or break us. Love is directly under fear. What makes during evolution and what literally skips and or helps progress and or degress evolution is fear and love. What has the most impact on mentality and spiritually is love and or fear. So when we commit to something with pure observance and radiance of and awareness and this primordial pristine luminosity within, that's how with love, that we, okay, so for example, even if theoretically someone was angry, it can still be used in a loving way. For example, if it's correctly done, why would someone be to protect? Okay, so it needs to be done in protection, literally. Okay, so that's how evolution can literally, to the need to protect and want to and never give up on this and always stay strong on that. So willpower literally leaks out through prayer, witchcraft, reiki, science, observation, awareness brings this. With effort, it will be accomplished either way, and that's what the meditation involves with. Meditation is really misunderstood, but it's really unlocking the inner doorways and chakras within, and really 7 of them are misunderstood completely. It's not really the 7 chakras that need to be aligned. It's really just the heart going upwards, really. I'm going to share something with the heart, if I can. At the center of the heart, is what we bind with hemoglobin, and that binds oxygen. At the center of this is iron. Now, iron is only recreated through the process of supernovas and stars. So that's how we directly are translated and are part of the galaxies around us. What is made in the heart is only as well replicated within the collision course of galaxies, cars, all of this comes from the galaxy somehow. So that's why the metaphor of we are stardust and atoms, there's truth in this. So to dig into our pristine consciousness is to remember where we primordially are. That goes beyond any species. Anything with a heartbeat has this energy and connection to the galaxies. In Hawaiian, the term for this is the or the dancing and the swirling of the stars, the So a lot of, and the dancing of the deoxyribonucleic acid, how everything is this swirl of knowledge and understanding and pristine primordial awareness without AI, without drugs, without herbology, and with respect to all of this. These are just paths for evolution, and they have chosen the evolution of least resistance. So again, but the most pristine way is to ourselves, really honestly, and I mean that literally, quite literally, and because, like I said, at the center of our heart remains the ingredients that created galaxies and supernovas. So if we dig into this primordial pristine awareness and luminosity, there is no limits, and we don't need anything but ourselves. It's always been there, but sometimes we need instruction, but there's no teachers. It's us. It's really us. The answer has always been in us, and that's why true meditation is to be understood briefly, very briefly, is an undisturbed continuum. So there's no beginning or end. You have always been. You always have been, like a candle that never goes out, a Gnostic flame that has never gone out. But this body is temporary. But if you can understand true awareness and become one with it, this can come with a lot of transcendence and phenomena as well as protecting others. It needs to be done with love and protection for it to really have an effect, or else the other choices are the ones mapped up for us because we don't have enough love and the need to protect. So that's why it's easier path of less resistance, and many of us will not want to love and protect, but this can really be done.
This has been one of my favorite interviews. I just want to let you know, I've been writing down a lot of the things you're saying.
It's an honor, and I can elaborate this on another time, anytime.